This year as well. Come, be modern, be modern.
George, it's fantastic to have you here.
It's lovely to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, here's the exciting news. First Culture Club album. How many years is this now? 18, 19
They keep
years?
saying 20, but I think that might be a big exaggeration, you know.
Close to 20 years anyway. This is live. It's out now. Brand new Culture Club album. Now, how was it getting back with the original band and recreating the sound and coming up with new material? What was that like?
You know what? Bands really only make sense when you're on stage or in the studio. The rest of the time, you probably look at each other and think, who are you people? Why am I hanging out with you? You know,
they're not really necessarily close friends.
Well, we came together to be a band. We weren't mates at school. We didn't know each other before the band started. So, you know, I would say we're still learning to communicate, even all these years on.
Well, hold on. So how many... If we take out the gap when you weren't together, though, you were first together from about 86, 87?
No, 82. 82 was the beginning. 82 to 86 was the sort of the mental years, I call them.
So that's 35 years ago.
Yeah. There's been bits in between, obviously. We never really officially split up. We just stopped speaking to each other for a while. And I went off and did whatever I was doing. I had a DJ career, I had a solo career.
Well, you've lived a full life, George.
I've been busy.
Yeah. And so when you got back together then, presumably, were there still any of the kind of old, not animosities as such, but any grievances or any of the friction that had existed before? Did that reappear, or had you all grown up enough for that not to be an issue?
I think that, you know, there are always things that come up because we're human beings.
Yeah.
And the issue has always been about me getting all the attention.
But to be fair, you kind of you sort of had earned most of the attention.
It's my own fault.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you've always looked very... the eye is drawn to you in any photograph. I mean, that really... It's like you and 3 Uber drivers, you know what I mean?
They're going to kill you. They're going to kill you. I suppose I'm like the face on the cereal box.
Yeah, you're the brand,
you know,
really. There were reports this week that you sacked John Moss, the drummer from the band, who at one time, many years ago, was your partner as well, wasn't
he? Was, yeah.
So
I read that story. It was in The Sun, though.
Yeah, yes.
So that doesn't mean it
No,
could
but
be a work
that's
of
why I'm
fiction.
asking you. I want it from the
At the
horse's
moment,
mouth.
he is taking a break. We went on a very, very gruelling tour last year, and John, you know, said quite openly he wanted to spend more time with his kids.
Right.
He's got great kids, and he's a great dad, and that's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But as far as we're concerned, he's still part of Culture Club.
So there's no friction there, you didn't sack him?
There's always friction, but no, I didn't sack him. There are actually 4 people in the band.
Yeah.
So I'm not the Grand Wizard. I can't just fire people.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a democracy as such?
It is now. But I think with things like that, you know, you can't just turn around... You know, you must know the same thing. You can't just turn around and tell people what to do.
Yeah.
I tried that in the 80s. It was a disaster.
Yeah. Well, when were you at your worst? When you think back to the 80s, what were the worst things you did, either inflicted on the band or just did with a sense of grandness and importance?
Some of the things I made them wear a little bit funny. I used to say, no, you look great in it. And, you know, nowadays I'm like, you've got to be comfortable, not too comfortable. You never want someone to look at your outfit and say you look comfortable.
So you chose what they wore?
Not chose, but I used to kind of try and force my will on them.
Can I ask you, I read that you gave a quote, you were on a radio show, I think, and you said that you turned down an MBE.
That's not true.
That's not true, but you said it.
Did I?
Yeah.
I might not have said it, though. I might not have said it.
I think you did.
I've never met the Queen. I'd love to meet the Queen.
You never met the
Queen?
Queen?
No, I've met Charles and Camilla. Oh. Met Diana, who was adorable.
Oh, yeah. Did you know her well?
No, not well, but I met her a few times. She was adorable. I actually was at a function and someone said, oh, she wants to meet you, and I sort of went over to be photographed with her, and I got pushed on the floor by these palace officials because they said, you're not on the list, move. And she actually came over afterwards and sort of hung out with me. It was very sweet. And I said to her, my mum loves you and my mum's here. Will you meet my mum? And she goes, yeah. And my mum spent, like, half an hour with her.
Wow.
And she was adorable. My mum, obviously, you can't say anything about Princess Diana to my mother. She adores her.
Yeah,
and I did. I thought she was lovely.
Now, you know, we've talked about you living the life, but you're sober now. You've been sober now for, what, 10 years?
Over 10 years, yeah. March the 2nd, 2008 was my revelation day.
So what was the moment? Was it one of those things, the classic things where you'd realise you'd hit a low point, or was some other reason why you decided you had to change your life?
It was really a series of kind of just constant sort of... You know, with these things, they call it a rock bottom. It just kept sort of... I knew it wasn't going to end well. Do you know what I mean?
So you kept getting in worse and worse situations?
Yeah, worse and worse situations, and I just kind of didn't like the way I looked, and, you know, my voice was a bit short, and I just didn't feel good. So I knew that I had to do something about it, and it was just really an accident. The sort of first NA meeting that I went to was a pure accident, but I knew I had to be there.
So, hold it, was booze the problem, or was it other substances the main problem?
No, I was never a drinker. It was just everything else.
Right, right.
Everything else, yeah.
What, everything?
Well, I don't know.
More or less.
Well,
I've got a list here. Let's go through this
no,
list.
let's not.
No, I'm not. But I mean, man, yeah. And what, George? What was that? Do you think? Was it you were unhappy? You hadn't found a place to be unhappy, or what was the reason why you needed to alter your chemicals? In that
I think sometimes it's just, you know, it's like when you're, you know, people put food in front of you. You often just eat it. You know, like when we travel, there's always food everywhere you go, in airports, dressing rooms, and you don't have to eat it just because it's there. And so the same applies to drugs. You know, I mean, you don't have to take them because they're on offer, but I think it's hard to be in your life. You know?
There's a great quote I read from you which said, it's something like being Boy George is fun, it's being George O'Dowd that's difficult. It's something like that.
I would say that now I'm kind of happy with both because I don't really see a separation. Do you know what I mean? I know that I'm George O'Dowd from Eltham. Obviously, I'm well aware of that. And, you know, I suppose in a way I've kind of made peace with the whole kind of celebrity thing.
I believe you are vegan, is that correct? Are you
I'm vegan,
still?
yeah.
Because you were macrobiotic for a long while, which I guess is
Well,
similar
I've been
sort of
everything,
thing. Okay.
basically.
When you say, but what I love about you is when you become something new, you talk about it as though I finally, at last, I found the thing that's going to change my life. And then 6 months later, you're not doing that anymore. So what happens in that
My mum
period?
always says, oh, I don't know what is this week.
Yeah.
Is it a Buddhist? I'm a Buddhist, obviously.
Are you still a Buddhist?
I'm a Buddhist, yeah.
But that's been a long time then.
That's been a long time, yeah. That's something that's been a big part of my life. My mum will always say to me, you're a Catholic. I say, well, I'm that as well.
So you're a Catholic Buddhist?
I'm a Buddhist in my aspirations and a Catholic in my complications.
For a while, and I've met people before who did this, you spent a period, I think, of 6 months drinking your own urine.
He's really trying to make me look like a lunatic.
No. I'm trying to dispel those rumours about you, George.
Have you tried that?
What, drinking your urine?
Yeah.
I do.
Well, apparently it works like homeopathy. It's like, you know, like when you plant leaves back into the soil to kind of, you know, that's apparently what it works.
The theory is the impurities you flushed out, when you put them back in, it strengthens you against them, I believe.
But you can only do it if you're sort of on a really healthy diet. You can't sort of do it if you're having, like, kind of, you know, mac and cheese and, like, Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's got to be kind of pure.
But you kind of enjoyed it. Did you put ice with it or tonic water? But no, can you make it palatable?
No, it really is, like, the first time you do it, it is the most disgusting thing
And is it
ever.
still warm? It's
Yeah,
fresh?
it's warm, yeah. Yeah. Well, you're supposed to do it quickly.
So, so it's just a little bit?
Like a shot.
Like a shot.
A double shot. You'd never try that?
I would try it, but
You
I don't
strike
think
me as someone that would be quite adventurous.
No, but I don't need to try it because I don't believe it would work. So that's why I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but how do you know until you try something if it works?
I tell you why, because it's piss.
But it's in your body.
Yeah, and if my body said I don't need this anymore, so George, it's great to have you back. Not that you ever really went away. Boy George, ladies and gentlemen.